Okay, so our next step is to add color to this blur. To get the color to stick, we actually have to increase its contrast a little bit. So you can see I have subject blur, I have subject blur copy, and I have subject copy. So copy is normal person with no blur. Subject blur copy is a second copy of this because this is eventually going to go up on top. And subject blur is the one we want to add some color to that and punch it up a little bit. So to make that happen, we have to play with the contrast of this blur. So we're going to go straight down here to the half black, half white circle. Look for the tool called curves. And curves you've used before. And usually what we do is we push the highlights up and we pull the dark areas down. And that already starts to add some contrast. Now there's another tool that is in Lightroom called Levels. And Levels is, we're looking at the histogram. This is the blacks, this is the grays, this is the whites. So we're going to push in the whites a little bit. We're going to slide the grays over. But you don't want it to go totally dark so that you lose the details. You want to keep the details, but give it a little more contrast. Same thing with the dark areas. And now we can start to see some of the lines in the blur better. Now we can add color to this. Excuse me. So go back down here and look for gradient map. This is the tool you used when you did duotones a million years ago. And when you open up a duotone, remember, it always opens up a black-white one, so it made everything black-white. We don't want that. We want to choose color. And you could choose whatever color you want. I would go with something that really pops and really stands out and maybe matches the personality of your subject. And remember, you can customize stuff. So let's try this red. Whoa, crazy. I'm going to actually change this pink color to something that's more teal green. Maybe even bluish green. There, okay. I like that. I like that. Now, we need some more colors happening here. Okay. That causes the shape to get bigger, but I lost some of the details. So I'm actually going to go here, and I'm going to change this to a different color. It's like we're getting like a thermal mapping type picture. We get the blur, and that goes like that. And I'm going to just keep sliding these around until I like the way the blur looks. Now, I think that pink background is a little more than what I want to look at. So I'm going to go, what happens if I go, Oh, that's a lot. No, not purple. I'm going to go with a darker blue. Okay. So I like that. That yellow, though, that's bugging me. I'm going to go back and play with that yellow one more time. Maybe go something kind of crazy yellowy orange. All right, let's see how these colors work. They may not work, but we'll see. Now, what I can do is I can go subject copy. So there's my person, but it looks like he's cut out and he's not blending in with that motion blur. It doesn't look like motion blur belongs to him. So we're going to go down here to subject copy, and we're going to go Command J, copy it, and bring it up here and drop it off. And now you can see that it's sort of over him, so it looks like it's blurring out his arm, it's blurring out the back of his legs. So now that blur looks like it belongs to him. What happens if I do a second copy? Ooh, if I do a second copy, that's kind of cool too. It's even more smeared out. Now, things you can play with, because this picture just became very dark. You can look at your blend modes and see if any of your blend modes make this look better. I kind of like soft light. I kind of like overlay too. I'm going to choose overlay. But there's, well, actually, let's look at pin light. I've been finding pin light on these. Yeah, actually, I really like pin light because it really smears. Okay, so now we are ready to send this picture back to Lightroom because there's a couple moves we're going to make in Lightroom and then it's done. All right. So to send it back to Lightroom, Command W. Save. That's another version I worked on. So let's go find Lightroom. There it is. Okay. So what we have to deal with now is the whole thing is just like a little bit dark. It could use a crop, and we can play with color some more. So first thing I would go to is this. Let's look at crop. Let's go 5x7. I don't want to crowd him too much, but that gets rid of some of the dead area. Now, I can also look at temperature and tint, and I can play with that slider. I kind of like what it looks like when I warm it up a little bit. And you can really see this smear nicely. What happens when I go to green? Kind of like that green. That looks good. Exposure. What happens if I brighten just a little bit? I don't want to brighten a lot, just a little. I got clarity. Texture. Texture should make some of the lines in the blur show up more. What happens with dehaze? Ooh, dehaze looks good. So now I'm getting all this texture in the blur to show up more. Vibrance. What does vibrance do to colors? That looks good. Now, let's say I wanted to really tweak these colors more. I would go down to the tone curve. Normally the tone curve is either on this one or this one. I would do one tone curve at a time. So if I click on just the red one, I can push this up. Now I've made everything look red. I'm going to fix that in a minute. I'm going to play with this. There we go. A little bit of that guy. I like that. And then the last one be here. There you go. Okay. And then, you know, a test that I always run for myself is that, does it look good in black and white as well as in color? It kind of does. It looks kind of purpley, but Command Z, undo that. I like that. I can also look at black and white filters too. But I would keep this, I would probably choose to keep this in color. Okay? And from there, you are done. All right? And that is how to do motion blur, motion path blur.